Lurgan Junior High School is very fortunate to have these lovely group of Americans with us here this week.
Could you tell us what brought you over here to Northern Ireland?
Well, first I want to say it's really been a privilege to be over here. What's brought us here was the opportunity to serve. So the university that we go to really values the chance for its students to serve in different communities outside of its own. So this was just an opportunity for us to do so. At the same time, we get to learn about your culture, about what goes on in Northern Ireland with the conflict, and the chance to serve along students who are really involved in changing their own community.
As a teacher, I wanted to be a part of every one of those things, and I have a huge heart for middle school youth, and I want to be a part of something bigger and something that is causing change, and to have an opportunity to be a peacemaker and to share Christ with people is something that I'll never deny.
What are your thoughts on the peace process, and do you really understand it?
So from what I understand, the peace process is about getting Protestants and Catholics to really start to understand each other so that conflict doesn't break out in the future like it has in the past. Getting people to understand that if I'm a Protestant, I know that Catholics really aren't that different from me. Very similar beliefs, and if I'm a Catholic, the same for Protestants.
Is there any work being done to resolve this in America?
Well, in America it's very interesting because our past has been littered with conflicts, not necessarily with different religious groups, but between racial groups, between men and women. We've had problems of inequality between men and women and black and whites. That was a big problem throughout most of the early part of the 20th century and late 19th century. And there have been a lot of movements to bring about laws to change certain things, but a lot of it is within each person's heart. So I have to decide for myself whether I'm going to think a certain way about a certain group of people just off what I know about them without getting to know them or experiencing their own lives.
I would say in America there's this general cry for just equality in terms of human rights. So like Caleb said, in terms of men and women, in terms of gay and straight people, we're all humans, and so we want everybody to have the same rights, and that's what we're dealing with in our country right now.
Are there different schools and clubs for people with different religions?
I would say no.
No.
It goes back to that difference of separation between church and state. So for our own schools, we don't have religious tendencies to influence anything, so we don't have clubs or anything that are influenced by different religions and such.
Do you think the conflict is worse in America or here in Northern Ireland?
That's hard to answer because the conflict is different. Ours, it's a struggle currently today, but at the same time we've made a lot of progress from the past. And so it's not necessarily a struggle in religion as opposed to a struggle in just human equality. Like Michaela mentioned before, again, it's just a daily challenge for each person to say, I'm going to choose to believe this person has value and is important.
Yeah, I think because we grew up with that mindset of separation between church and state, it's much easier for us to, I think, overcome things and to, I just feel like there's a constant change. There's something that's always going on. Whether there's a law being made for this reason or that, there's always something that we're working towards, whereas I feel like things that have been in our history, we've accepted them. So in terms of equality, race equality, we went through that in the 60s with the Martin Luther King movement and with peaceful protesting, and so that was its time, but we're still working today to better that and to make sure all humans have rights and have equal rights for everything. But here, I feel like, I just feel like it's a sticky situation because you have politics, you have religion, and yeah.
What have you learned from your time in Northern Ireland, and have you enjoyed it?
Oh, we've certainly enjoyed it,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing that we've really learned, and that we're also trying to teach at the same time, is that we need to be self-reflective of ourselves. So what I learn and what I think about people, do they come from, let's say, my family because they've influenced me a certain way, or do they come from my experience with another person? Do I believe this person is a certain way just because my friend told me so? And we're at the same time we're trying to teach the students here the same thing, to be self-reflective and to say, maybe this is my family talking. Maybe I should really get to know this person before I make a judgment about them.
Every time I teach a lesson to students, I always have to pause and think, now would I take my own advice? And I kind of go through that this week. We had a discussion with a class earlier today about not judging others and making sure that you're holding your friends accountable for what they say and what they say they want to do when things happen or there's a conflict, saying, I want to be peaceful about this. So when I am prompting students to tell me what they would do to be peaceful, I'm thinking, what would I do? Like, do I do this in my own life? And if the answer is no, then I'm thinking along with them, what can I do? And so I think that even though I've already learned a lot of these lessons and a lot of these ideas that I'm trying to share with students, it's always something that I'm constantly relearning and reworking to apply towards my own life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.